So here's my own grip, which I consider reasonably neutral, but the things you'll note here, the right hand, this V is very centered. V of the left hand is angled more off to the right, towards the right shoulder, and of course you can see the two knuckles right here. And that grip could potentially be stronger if we're really searching for the most lag and the most power. Okay, so we'll come back here. That's left hand. Make it stronger than possibly what you interpreted from my first video on grip. Now, that gives this left wrist more opportunity to hinge. At that particular angle, it can get a little bit cupped, which I'm sure you're thinking, uh-oh, that violates my other video about flat wrist. But you've got to match your grip and your wrist position together. So if you go stronger left hand, then you can go into a more cupped wrist. Bottom line is that wrist position with that grip position, it will hinge more, provided you know what to do with it. Now, right hand grip plays a role in this. We still need the right hand grip to be fairly neutral to weak. And that's because the right wrist can bend back further. This is dorsiflexion. It can bend in that direction farther than it can bend in this direction. By using a slightly strong left, weak right, we can get the maximum amount of wrist bend or wrist hinge in the top of the backswing. You'll get mostly dorsiflexion out of the right wrist and this upward hinging here sort of into the snuff box of the left wrist. But slightly cupped will be okay here if our goal is more lag, more distance, and avoiding the casting. All right, so we'll assume you have stage one. You've got the strong left hand, weak to neutral right hand. Now, part two, going into the backswing. How do you get more hinge? The sensation you want to have is pushing the butt of the handle away from your chest. You literally want to lever it right there. If I split my grip apart and hold it with these two fingers, it's as though I'm levering the two hands against one another. Particularly the left hand pushing the butt end away from me. That will get the maximum amount of hinge here. Now you'll also notice looking in the camera here that my right elbow is below my left arm. It's very important for the right arm to fold down. It doesn't have to be right against the body, but it must fold down. If you have a high or flying right elbow, it'll just push the wrist back out and not allow them to hinge. Okay, so those are kind of three big critical details to help you get more lag in your backswing. I'll do it now with a 7-iron. I'll just step back further into the studio here. So strong left hand. Got the thumb at least at 1 o'clock, maybe in a little farther to the right. V coming to the right shoulder, 2 to 2.5 knuckles showing. I'll place the right hand now. It's going to cover the left thumb, somewhat on top of the club. Got a really pronounced trigger finger here on the side of the golf club. I'll start the takeaway, fairly normal takeaway at the start, just a one-piece move here. And then as I reach around the waist-high area, I'll really begin to push the handle away from my body, really firming out the left arm, creating a lot of width right here. And of course the low right elbow, which helps, again, achieve more wrist bend in the right wrist for the lag. Now that takes care of the hands, arms, and elbows to generate the most lag and wrist hinge at the top of your backswing. And we'll come back with some more videos to talk about how to preserve that angle and how to use it in the downswing. So I hope that helps you for now. Get out and start to try those tips. A little bit different grip. Definitely create the width and the hinge in the backswing. Keep that trailing arm down. And that should get you more lag to start with, and we'll come back with some. We're going to coil around the inside of this right leg. One piece to waist high, pushing away, generating that hinge. Now we're going to begin to sort of slightly fall into the left side. Now we're going to do that as the club is going up, and we can create some downloading or some downcocking of the golf club and potentially hinge the wrist even greater than we can naturally do on our own. So I'll kind of put that sort of semi-slow motion here for you. You can see the club fall in right there. I begin to change direction here in the base, and we see additional wrist cock come into the wrist coming down from the side. Now you can see the golf club sort of slots nicely, flattens on plane. Of course, I'm depending on this right elbow to be down the whole time. I'm trying to tuck it right in front of this right hip as I begin this sort of compressive squat shift towards the target. Okay, so these are some things you need to get your sequencing right. You want to maximize that lag, and then you want to maintain it. And one of those feelings is going to have to be bracing the right leg so that you can have this feeling of a fall into the golf ball or a shift as we start that downswing, and you want to do that as the club is floating and maybe still moving upward right here. Now, getting into pre-impact, we've got the right elbow tucked in front of the hip, and I'm going to say that as a position for players that are, again, trying to generate maximum leverage and power. I know there are plenty of players that will put the right elbow beside the hip. In Jim Hardy's work on the one-plane and two-plane golf swings, a lot of the one-planers will put it on the side of the body and turn out of the way. I think that you're going to do better generating as much leverage and angle and sort of conservation of angular momentum, if you want a $10 word here, from the elbow and wrist, coupled up with the turning and clearing of your body. So if you can get the elbow in front, I encourage that. You're going to hold more angle that way. All right, pre-impact. We've driven the legs laterally, right elbow tucked down in front of the body. You can see the right arm under the left arm here. And now I want to start this clearing process. Knees forward, hips forward. And we're going to leave it right here, and we'll start getting into some more things into the next video. But main thing I want you to get out of this one, you've already done the grip, you've already got the lag, you want to be doing things that maintain it. Worst place you can be, lose the right leg, you're at the top of the backswing with the core of your body shifted over. Now you cannot push off here. Your spine is tilted the wrong way, essentially going to be coming over the top and quite likely casting or falling back away as your spine angle would increase going back into the target. Just not efficient for generating power. At a minimum, you might create the same amount of swing speed but hit the ball sideways. But worse yet, I think you would actually lose some power and speed. So brace that leg, push off, create some lag as you change direction. Remember, the club may still be going up as you begin to press into the feet and push forward. Do those things for now. Start to train that. In slow motion, I would generally work my way up to the top. Picture trying to leave the club at the top of the swing, leave the chest facing this way, start the squat move with the legs. I don't want to start turning yet from the upper half. Spine angle is going to be leaning slightly away from the target. You'll notice the right leg braced inward, upper body angled away. Starting down, squat, press into the feet, shift. Golf club and arms are going to drop. If anything, this angle will get narrower as we start down. Right there. That's that first move. Leaning leg, falling into the target, drive down and lag. And that's going to load us up for that pre-impact position where we'll begin to talk about how the body... Turn to the side here, get set up, and that first move, we just want a clean, straight, one-piece takeaway. It's a pretty easy move. You just want both arms to feel like they go straight back along your toe line, and a couple of features that make it simple if you do it this way. If you keep the back of your left hand facing down, I'm wearing a watch right now, I've got my watch face kind of facing the ground here. Back of my right hand is facing up towards the sky. If you just let the club kind of come out of the ground and move up, you'll be right in position just above your waist, chest high, somewhere in that range. And a couple of things you're going to notice, the club face is tilted a little bit over. The toe of the club is not dead straight up. A lot of the books can talk about having the toe up, but notice this is still upward, it's just not straight up. So it may look a little closed to what you're used to, and I promise you that's the right technique for a good, clean, one-piece takeaway. If you roll it straight up or worse behind you, you've now rolled your forearms and started manipulation that you're never going to recover from later. We definitely don't want the club behind you, we don't want the face fanned open. All right? So we get it just above the waist, get everything in good shape there. The move that gets you to the top now is your forearms rotate. Literally see the left arm start to rise and rotate. My watch face goes from looking at the ground to moving up to look at the sky. That'll plane the club behind me. Got the back of my hand flat, my watch face, my forearm, everybody in the same plane, golf shaft and club face. Everything lined up perfectly so that I make a great downswing. Now that's still not really the magic move. That gets us set up well. We've got a good neutral grip. Gets us to the top of the backswing with that flat left wrist. We've talked about that in some other videos. The real secret is in how we come down. And Camilo, at impact, really strikes aggressively. He's got a lot of leg drive. He's got the body cleared out of the way. But the real secret is the wrist position at impact. He's got the back of the left hand squared away, facing the target. If anything, slightly bowed backwards, which sort of traps the ball and de-lofts the shot. Okay? So I want to kind of help you see that in a couple of drills that we have here. Actually, let me just pick up my big club again and talk to you about the downswing. From the top of that
that backswing position, the real move you're trying to make here is you want a little bit of weight shift. I'll turn this way. A little bit of leg drive. You probably can't copy that real aggressive movement that Camilo has, so just make a little shift targetward. But the move you can copy is how the left forearm rotates down. We're just simply trying to bring the back of the left hand right into the golf ball. Feel like it rotates towards the ground here, and the knuckles across the bridge of your left hand will be facing down at impact. Preferably maybe your left wrist even slightly bowed or curved there. As we come down, the right hand's got to keep putting pressure on the club as well. And a drill I kind of like, I've just done this recently with a few students, is you put the right hand on the back side of the golf club and don't even wrap it around the club, don't even close it. Just lay the fingers right across the back edge of the shaft. And now go through your golf swing just letting your right hand sit on the side of the club and feel it continue to press all the way to impact so that it doesn't fly away. If you're somebody who doesn't really keep that pressure in there, your right hand will just quit moving and the club will come right off. While it impacts, you're going to look like this. Your arms will be bent, the club will scoop, the left wrist will break down. You won't get the divot at all. You probably just top the ball or hit it fat. Definitely don't get the distance. Your shots will be weak. So again, trail on the back side of the club, pressing all the way into impact. Freeze here and just feel what it feels like. Now, post-impact, what do we look like just past the ball? This is really key. The toe end of the golf club will be pointed at the target. I like to help people train, just pose these positions, keep the club head low. The back of the left hand will be flat and both arms fully extended. Kind of turn this way, swing towards the camera, swing towards you guys, back of the hand flat, toe of the club pointed at the target, both arms outstretched. If you look good 4 feet past impact, you probably look pretty good at the ball. Now I've got a regular golf club here I'm going to grab. And we'll just walk you through 2 drills you can do when you're out at the golf course or your local practice range. Just get a golf ball. I want a lofted golf club, maybe an 8 or 9 iron, maybe even a wedge. Get everything set up here. And now we're just going to take a short, sort of punch shot golf swing. I'm really just trying to feel what my back of my hand is going to look like at impact. Take that same one-piece takeaway we talked about. It's got a lot of width in it. The back of the hand's facing the ground. Come into the ball, really trap it. Finish it low. Keep the back of the hand nice and flat. And if anything, go ahead and let the toe of the club turn in and face the target. Again, both arms extended, and the back of that left hand very flat. You can't hit enough of those. Hit a lot of those shots. That'll help you train the position, get a feel for it. Then when you decide to go through your full motion, you'll be able to go right through that kind of position. My next one will be with an impact bag. Got my trusty bag here. You set it up maybe 2 or 3 feet down the fairway from where you're standing. We're not going to use a golf ball, we're just making a practice swing here. Swing up to the top, come into the impact zone, and with the bag that far down the fairway, I've got the toe end of the golf club stuck straight into the side of the bag. It lets me train. I want to feel what's going on past the ball. I don't want to train people to hit at it. If you do that, you're going to break down no matter what. Just a feel for what it looks like past it. Arms extended, back of the left hand flat, toe of the club pointed into the bag. Anyway, that gives you a couple of great drills to try. Get you closer to swinging the golf club like Camilo. It wouldn't hurt us if we could all swing a little more like that. I've enjoyed shooting this video for you. I hope you found it helpful. Hope you'll maybe go visit the blog, leave a comment there. I want to talk specifically about what your left wrist is going to have to do in this impact area to square up this golf club. We've admittedly changed the grip, we've cupped the wrist, we've probably got more lag than maybe you've ever had in your golf swing, and you've got to be able to get that squared away at impact. So let's go through that movement. I'll move in tighter here to the camera so you can see this more closely. Forearm has got to move in 3 directions all at once. There's going to be, we'll use some fancy words here, there's going to be supination, which is simply rotation of that whole forearm. We're going to be bowing the left wrist, which is kind of bending it outward. Technically it'd be palmar deviation, where the palm is bent toward the forearm here. And then we've got ulnar deviation, which is where the wrist arches down. All 3 moves thrown in one, boom. You really feel like you're going to pop that ball with the back of the hand coming in here. A really neat little, I don't know if I'd call it a drill, but a neat little exercise. You can take the driver, place it right out in front of you, sideways. Back of the hand facing the sky, club face facing the sky. You've got a wrist hinge position right here, and then swing it straight out in front, rotating the forearm, You can see you've got ulnar deviation coming in here as the wrist arches down, because you have to do that to keep the shaft level. And then a slight outward bowing in the wrist here, where it would put us at impact with a very flat wrist there by the time we make impact. In other words, we've admitted we're going to allow cupping in the wrist here. We're going to stay cupped in the middle of the downswing to generate the most possible lag, and then rapidly in the impact zone, we're going to rotate, arch the wrist down, and bow the back of the left wrist. Wearing my watch here, it's almost like I'm just trying to jam the watch face out at the target. That will rapidly unload the golf club. We'll literally have the face square up 90 degrees in an instant. The shaft would be delivered coming from the inside of the shot, as we like to talk about. It would be rapidly onto the impact zone. It really allows you to go very deeply into impact without worrying about slicing the ball out dead right. Because almost every time, if you've done this yourself, you try to go make more lag in an effort to get more power, start slicing the ball off 9 miles to the right, and realize the project doesn't help you out. But there is a way to accomplish both. Now, there's one more element in this thing. We've talked about getting into impact. We've made this transitional weight shift, had a bunch of comments here on YouTube. Hey Herman, I'm trying this, it's working great with irons, I can't hit my driver at all. How do you do this much weight shift and stay behind the ball and whatnot? Well, remember, these positions are just moments in time. We're moving through them. So, if I were just to pause right here, got real heavy knee drive, we showed Ben Hogan in our last lesson, got lots of drive, got weight moving into the front side, but I'm not going to stay there. We're going to have these hips continue to clear. This front leg is going to post up and straighten. This is the time where you can really start to turn in your golf swing. You've probably looked at other videos of mine where we've talked about leaving your back to the target, making a bump or a shifting start. A lot of things that try to prevent coming over the top. Because honestly, I think the amateur community, or maybe I should say the non-tour player who doesn't make their living doing this, any effort from the top of the backswing to start turning and clearing leads to over-the-top motion, outside-in, choppy swings. You want to make that first move more of a shift, squat, transitional thing where the chest doesn't turn. It's as if most of us have spinal fusion here. If the hips start clearing, everything goes with it. You want to wait that moment, make that shift, get those arms to drop. But now that you're down here and you're in this pre-impact position, you want to combine that hip clearing, which includes some clearing in the chest. You want that front leg posting up and starting to brace. And as that's happening, you want that forearm to rotate, arch down and outward, and square that face. And that'll bring you into impact powerfully. You'll move that golf club that last 5 feet in just a sudden whipping action as the body combines with that wrist move to power you into the golf ball squarely. It's the greatest way in the world to get that rapid burst of speed right around the impact zone. One thing that I would add, if we look at the trailing side, looking at the right arm in the golf swing, pre-impact, I like to say we store 2 90s and then let it go. And people say, 2 90s, what are you talking about? 90-degree angle at the elbow, 90-degree angle at the wrist. If you want more information on this, I've got a really good post on my website, hermanwilliamsgolf.com. We've got the blog there. There's an article dedicated totally to wrist, and it talks about how the right wrist here will have full dorsiflexion, bent back, coming into impact, storing that angle. And that's where the palm can then hit. The right elbow will straighten as the wrist straightens through the golf shot. We don't want that arm straight before the hit. I see that every day out here on the lesson tee at the Golf Academy here in Raleigh. We're filming golf swings and we're seeing everybody lose the trailing arm early. You'll see daylight right through here, where the proper thing to see would be the elbow would be tucked into the body. No daylight showing through here at all. Just come right in front of the body, maximum lag, maximum angle. Practice this. See how much you can hold the shaft up in the air, elbow underneath, driving under this arm, holding the angle, and then you're at pre-impact now. You've got that weight pressing into the front leg, almost a squat here, and then really just clear those hips, clear that front leg, get it posted up, and then rotate, supinate, bow that wrist down, and you'll square it right up at impact. So that's the ideal group of positions for efficiency when you're trying to hold as much angle as you can, but then get rid of it hard in the impact zone and generate more distance.